You know, in any conflict, there's always the official story, and then there's everything else happening behind the curtain. Today, we're diving into a report that suggests what we're being told about recent Iranian strikes on U.S. bases, well, it might be missing some huge and, very expensive details. So, what's really going on here? Let's dig in.
So this is the big question, right? Since this whole thing kicked off on February 28th, Iran has been hitting American bases across the Middle East. But trying to get a clear picture of the actual damage, yeah, that's been surprisingly tough. It really makes you wonder what's being left out.
And the first piece of this whole puzzle is actually what we aren't hearing. When reporters ask for the specifics, what got hit, how bad was it, the official channels have gone completely quiet. It's basically a solid wall of no comment. And it's who is staying silent that really gets you thinking. We're talking about the U.S. Defense Department, the Pentagon, not sharing the full details. And U.S. Central Command, the folks literally in charge of all military operations in the region, they've just refused to comment on the damage. And when the top brass goes quiet like that, you really have to start asking, why? But here's the thing. Where official sources create a vacuum, you can bet leaks are going to start filling it. And now, sources from inside the U.S. government are starting to talk, and they're painting a very different picture, one that's a whole lot more serious.
And this is the bombshell right here. According to these unnamed officials, the damage isn't just a little worse than we've been led to believe. They're saying it's much greater. And that single phrase, much greater, completely flips the script on what we thought we knew. And we're not talking about a few broken windows. The damage is apparently spread across at least 7 countries, and it's hitting absolutely critical stuff. We're talking command centers, storage warehouses, aircraft hangars, runways, even sophisticated radar and satellite systems. Some aircraft were damaged too. This is the very backbone of modern military power. And get this, it's not just missiles. The report highlights this one wild incident where an older Iranian F-5 fighter jet, not exactly state-of-the-art, was apparently able to slip right through these incredibly powerful U.S. air defenses to carry out a strike. Now that's a huge deal because it points to a potential vulnerability they really don't like to talk about. So, as you can probably guess, all of this physical destruction comes with a massive price tag, and the numbers that are starting to leak out, they are just staggering. Okay, first up, the repair bill. Just to fix all that critical infrastructure we just talked about, officials are estimating it's going to cost billions of dollars. And believe me, that's just where the spending starts. To put that into perspective, think about this. In just the first 7 days of the conflict, the U.S. had already burned through over $11 billion on military operations. That's an absolutely incredible rate of spending. And all that leads us to this monster number. The Pentagon is reportedly getting ready to go to Congress and ask for over $200 billion to fund the war. When you look at the billions in repairs and that $11 billion a week burn rate, well, this massive request suddenly starts to make a lot more sense. Now, you can imagine, right, going to politicians asking for a record-breaking amount of money while at the same time refusing to tell them exactly what got broken? Yeah, that's creating some serious friction back in Washington. And according to the report, some lawmakers are more than just a little concerned. They're angered and frustrated. They're looking at this historic budget request and feeling like they're being kept completely in the dark about the very battlefield losses that are supposed to justify it. This quote from a Republican aide pretty much says it all. No one knows anything, and it's not for lack of asking. It just perfectly captures that sense of frustration. You've got this huge disconnect between the military asking for money and its willingness to actually show its work. Which really brings us to the final crucial question. This isn't just about military budgets. It's about transparency, about accountability. When spending is soaring into the hundreds of billions and the real scope of a conflict is being kept under wraps, it raises a really fundamental issue. Whose job is it to make sure the public and the people who represent them get the full story? It's definitely something to think about.